Well, hello friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in the Ark. I'm out here at the White Clay Creek Reserve, and I'll tell you what, it's beautiful out here at this preserve. And this trail goes along this creek for miles, I imagine. I have only been out here a few different times, and this is as farther than I've ever made it. Just on an adventure out to enjoy the beauty of it all. And to come out here and talk about you know what. Because I'm always talking about that Jesus, right? Talking about God. That's what my journeys are about, friend. I come out here to find God. In fact, today I was going to explain I don't talk about this often, but I was going to explain to you a little bit about why it is that I do this journey. Well, understand that it may look kind of crazy, right? That I'm just out doing what I do all the time, which is mostly hiking and relying on God to provide for me and doing the things that He asks of me. I do this because there come a point in my life where me looking around at this world hurt too much. And so what He did was He gave me a new way of seeing things. But the price was high. And even though it's high, it's not really high at all. I guess it all depends on your perspective. But what I really wanted to know was, because I've been looking at this world and all the pain we cause each other and the way that we just hurt each other and selfishness reigns and all of this stuff, and I just wasn't understanding why it is, if there was a God, why He would create this mess. And, because when I'm out in the woods like this, I can see exactly why He creates it. It's beautiful, right? But then when I get around people and I watch the news and I'm watching people kill each other and I'm watching people buy $50 million yachts while there's people on this planet starving, friend, none of that makes any sense to me. And so what I really wanted to know was that there was a God, because I needed one. I needed forgiveness, friend. I'd done some things in my life and just not been a good person necessarily. And I needed forgiveness, and I was trying to believe in that Jesus for forgiveness, but I had to make sense of it all. And I wanted to know that there was a God, that it wasn't just, what other people say and people tell me and all that. I've got plenty of evidence now for myself personally that there is a God. And so what my journey is about loving God and receiving His love. Because, men just don't have anything worth dying for, friend, except love. It's the only thing worth having. It's the thing that brings us together and makes us feel good about one another. And that's what the Holy Spirit taught me, was that the purpose of the world is to come to know love by experience. So my journey out here doing what I do is, I never know how God's going to provide for me, because quite often it looks like He's not going to, but I seem to always get by. And at the end of my day, I just want to go into my grave knowing that I gave God everything and that God took care of me. It's not that I expect, I don't know what to expect, friend. I'm out here trying to do my Father's will. And He told me that this is His will, that me coming out here and giving Him love and attention in the woods, and then talking about my relationship with Him through the Holy Spirit and through this thought of Jesus. And so that's what I'm here to talk about, is the things that have meaning to me in my life, because I chased the world and the world didn't have anything I wanted, and every time I found something I wanted, it turned out I really didn't want it anyway. So I started studying that Jesus and trying to figure Him out. And on the way out here, it made me think about that price of building a tower, because that's one of those things He talked about when it was talking about the price of this relationship with God. Because there's a price to it, friend. And the price is death to selfishness. Because selfishness is your thought of Satan. And so therefore, if you're looking for more of that, you don't really want this thought of God, because this thought of God's going to ask you to give more. But the joy of it is when you give more, you get more for it. And what you'll find you want in your life ends up changing. There was a time that I always thought that I wanted the things of the world, and they just never brought me any joy, any of the ones I ever got. All they were was everything that possessed me, or I possessed me, friend. They became the things that got in the way of my love. Because fear and selfishness meant I had to protect everything I owned. And I'm just done with that way of thinking. But doing this, well, I'm not debt free. And just the other day, some family members were reminding me of that. And, well, let's just say that nobody necessarily believes that I talk to God, right? I don't expect them to, though, friend. They told Jesus he was out of his mind. But that's the price of building this tower. So for me to build this tower with God is to have to let go of what other people think of me. It becomes about knowing God and me, and that's it. Because God is something that you come to know by choice, but if you find it, trust me, the rest of the world isn't going to believe you have it. And many other believers won't either, friend. My family members all believe in God, but they just have different versions than I do. And most people don't believe that God will just talk to you. And he will. But the price is that if you want to know God, then he wants to know you, and then he wants you to help other people know him. And so you'll find yourself doing something for him, and I never can tell you what that'll be, because that'll be between you and him. See, the beautiful thing is this relationship between me and him has nothing to do with you, even though it has everything to do with you, because the only way I can love all of God is if I love all of you, and the only way that I can give God everything is if I give you everything. Yet, I don't have anything to give you, but I can give you what God gives to me. And that's this joy and love and this message of Jesus. Because at the end of the day, friend, that's all that matters to me. While I'm watching people kill each other, I just don't want to be a part of it anymore, a part of that belief system. I mean, it's not like I was killing people, but like this Ukraine stuff and Russia, now they're talking about, it's just not for me, friend. Jesus said, be in this world, but not of it. And the offenses must come, the woe to those who bring them. So I'm not here to think about what it is they're thinking about. I'm here to think about what it is Jesus said that I needed to think about if I wanted this relationship with God. So politics are no longer my thing anymore. My thing is whatever God tells me my thing is. And that seems to be talking about Jesus on this camera and talking about this relationship that I have with him, which comes through the Holy Spirit, which is basically the voice of God, friend. And it's helpful to understand that people are going to say that they hear from the Holy Spirit and they hear this, and when you hear from the Holy Spirit, you're not going to hear that. You should not expect to hear what I hear when you talk to the Holy Spirit, because God needs to talk to you in a way that you're going to understand, and that's what he does. So he's going to talk to you differently than what he's going to talk to me, because that's the way that works. God is, but we'll never prove it, right? He proves it again and again to those that want to know, but he proves nothing to those that don't. Free will requires free will. So if you don't want to believe in God, then he'll give you every reason not to. And what I've recognized is that love is the only thing that matters. I'm not perfect, and my body isn't perfect. Just on the way out here, my back was bothering me and I had a headache. But that doesn't matter, friend. You know what he gave me? The Advil that was in my glove box. See, I'm not here to try to figure out how to produce miracles and all that. That's God's job. If he ever wants anything like that, that's up to him. Because I don't talk about too much of that kind of stuff because that's not my thing. And Jesus healed, right? That's what he did. That's one of the things he did. But for me, it's talking about this message and about this relationship. And it's not about the world being perfect. It becomes about coming to know love by experience. And if I will tell you that God does talk to me, not only do we talk together while I'm out here, but also he will tell me to do certain things at certain times or have somebody say something to me that I need to hear at the moment I need to hear it. Like the other day, there is a guy that does prophecy online, and his name's Troy Black. And I've watched some of his stuff and I like it. But it's not like it's huge stuff, but God used it in a time when I needed some faith, and he had me turn that on so that I could talk about something on one of my videos. Because friend, I'm on here to challenge folks too. I don't care whether you believe what I believe, but please believe in what Jesus said. If you say you know Jesus, go read what Jesus said and get to know him. Don't listen to what all the churches are telling you. Now that doesn't mean the churches are wrong, because there's churches that are right, but there's also churches that are wrong. There's some built on rock, some built on sand, and even inside of a church you've got one person that's the wheat and another one's the shaft. And so understand that my Father didn't create you for the church. He created you for relationship, and that's what he wants. So the church is a wonderful place to go to gather more love and to find this relationship if you don't have it in the beginning and you don't know how to find it. But tell you the truth, friend, if you buy a red letter edition of the Bible, which is what Jesus said in red, and you start reading red, Jesus is the roadmap to the kingdom. Just to be clear on that. Nobody can give you this relationship, but he can. He laid it all out in parables, and you've got to find it, and the Holy Spirit will lead you to it. But if you think you're getting it going to church once a week on Sunday, you're wrong. That's the wrong answer. God created us for relationship. He didn't want you to have a relationship with a preacher or your neighbor. He wanted to have a relationship with you. So if you want this kingdom where all the people that are going to end up with this wonderful relationship with God, you might want to get to have a relationship with him personally. Just saying. But it really doesn't matter, friend, because I don't believe what the church believes, or a lot of the churches believe. I will tell you that one of my dilemmas was I started doing the things that Jesus asked, and one of the things he asked us to do was forgive. He said, if you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive. So I was busy trying to figure out how to forgive people that harmed me, and I was having a hard time doing it, and I kept trying. And I was doing the things he said that didn't seem to make any sense for the longest time, but I was trying to figure it out. It turns out that when he was on that cross and he said, forgive them for they know not what they do, he meant that about all of us. I didn't know what I was doing when I was hurting people. Friend, if you're hurting people right now, you didn't know what you were doing. And even if you do know what you're doing, you really don't know what you're doing, because you're not really seeing the price. Because when we hurt people, we hurt ourselves, and we hurt the thought of our Creator. Because Jesus said, hang all the laws and the prophets on only 2 commandments, and one was like the other. So if we harm our neighbor, we've harmed our Father. Not that you can technically harm him, but you can harm him by harming his children. And every person on this planet is a child of my Father. Let's clear that up. So that means I have to be like this Jesus the best I possibly can, and ask for forgiveness and give forgiveness. But what I was saying was that the problem with that is, and one of the reasons why people don't really buy into Jesus, is because eternal hell doesn't make sense. Because why would Jesus ask you to forgive those that condemned you if God was going to send people to hell for eternity? Forever, friend. Suffering without end. Why would Jesus ask us to forgive if God has no forgiveness? You got to understand that there's a lot there, and my Father has to reveal to you what it is that you need to know. But I needed to know that the forgiveness I was giving, I was going to get, and I wasn't getting the idea that I was going to get that because I was always afraid of this eternal hell, and if he's that angry, I'm going to end up making a mistake, and then he's going to be pissed off anyway. That's not the truth, friend. The truth is greater, but Jesus told you, he said, though what I tell you is true, even greater truths will you be given, but you can't bear them right now, but there'll come a time when you can bear them. But there came a time where I could bear them because I couldn't bear the truth that I needed with that to bear the truth that he gave. Because, friend, if you've done the things Jesus asked, you're going to be in the same dilemma I am, and you're going to find yourself at some point knocking on the door to the kingdom, and when he won't answer, you're going to finally give in. You're going to say, that's it. I want the truth or kill me now. And that's what I said. And that's what I got. But it doesn't matter, friend, because all I can do is live until the day I die. And I don't try to think about that death that I showed him, or that he showed me and I agreed to. I like to think that it was just my willingness that he needs. He showed me that what he needs is me to be willing to die in order to live. Because, like I was telling you, the price of me talking on this camera is that people judge me. People don't believe that I talk to the Holy Spirit. Even people that believe in God and in Jesus don't believe that I'm following God. But it's okay because it doesn't matter. See, that's the price. The price of death. So I'm dead to this world. So it's become about me and my Father. And as long as he keeps giving me what I need to continue in faith, then I have to keep coming because that was my promise. So he keeps giving me what I need to get me through to the next minute, and that's all I need. I don't need to know how my life's going to go or where I'm going to end up. Friend, as you know by the name of this Van Life Living in the Ark, my covenant to God was I bought a truck, built into a house, and moved into it. It's not even finished, and now it's in Virginia and I'm in Pennsylvania, but I think I'm going back here eventually. But he's got to provide the way for that. And he will, if that's his will. And if not, maybe the truck was about building it. But it come with some debt, friend, and I've still got that debt, so he's got to provide something. But I trust him. I trust that this is going to all go right even if it goes wrong. Because, friend, if I have to go back to buying into what this world believes, then I would rather you just kill me now, to be quite honest with you. Killing isn't right. And killing in the name of saving other people, killing one to save another only changes death's name. I'm not into all this stuff, friend. I can't justify all that hypocrisy anymore. It's just not in me. Either Jesus is right and what I'm following is the truth, or it's not. And if not, well then, if I waste away starving to death or something or other, that's probably better for me anyway, because I just don't want to watch this world. I don't want to watch $50 million yachts floating around while other people are starving to death, unless I'm doing something to talk about the love of Christ and how it is that you can have the kingdom that I've found. In this kingdom I have, I've got nothing, even though I've got everything, and because both are true, neither are. I don't know how to explain anything to anyone anymore, friend. I can just tell you that if you want this kingdom, my Father will give it to you, and you won't look like me, you'll look like you doing you. But you'll be doing you with him in relationship, and he'll ask crazy stuff of you, friend. I'm sure of it. Just like he asks of me. But it doesn't really matter because it's about an adventure, friend. I was a corpse. I was living in fear all the time. Now I'm afraid sometimes. Some of the things that he sometimes has me say on camera makes me afraid that somebody might think that killing me would be doing God a favor. Sometimes I don't know whether I'm going to have enough money to even figure out. I've got payments that aren't getting made. I've asked for money on this channel. No one supports me financially. It's okay. God said I'm doing the right thing and I just need to keep coming and have faith. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm still eating. I'm still getting gas put in my car. The bills, well, we're going to just see where this goes. But I've been following this Holy Spirit for 3 years and he has provided one miracle after another, and every time I think that it's all going to go wrong, it goes right anyway. So I don't know what to tell you about all that. I just have faith that God is, and because He is, I am. And I'm for Him because He's for me. And we're for you, and we're hoping that you'll be for Him. Because that's what He created you for, is to come to know love by experience. But to give it to Him, you have to give it to others. I did see the coolest thing the other day online, that water thing, the way that guy started off. This guy, he was kind of like me. He started off the wrong foot in life, and he was talking about how he used to do drugs and drink and sex and all this wild stuff, and he just was, and then now he provides drinking water to people all over the world, and he's got this passion about helping people. And people got on the bandwagon, and I mean the bandwagon on a big way, and he's getting clean drinking water to people all over the world. When people were drinking filthy water and it was causing all kinds of diseases all over the place. I love it when I see stuff like that, friend. I live to see those moments when we're helping each other and doing the right thing. Because that's what this planet should be about. And when we make our lives about serving others, that's when the kingdom comes. And though I've been serving others, I don't serve others as much now, but I serve Him by being in the woods, and then I serve Him by talking on this camera. But I'm still doing other things, but that's between me and Him, I imagine. But what matters is that love is the way. And if you want to know this Father, getting to know His firstborn Son, the first and only begotten Son, which only begotten means first, or the only one born of spirit. He is the Word manifest, and if you follow His path, you will find His kingdom. But you won't find it there, friend. It's here, waiting for you. All right, friend. Well, just know, because my Father loves you, I love you, and if you're having a hard time and struggling with this world, I do encourage you to go read what Jesus said and get down with that message, because it's a worthy message. And some of it's hard, friend, and some of the things I say on here, sometimes I'm talking about divorce and all kind of stuff that just isn't, that He showed me that I need to talk about. So I talk about whatever it is He wants me to talk about at the time. Today was about building that tower, about that there is a price to this relationship with God, so you need to figure that factor in when you decide you want to choose God. Because, friend, my tower fell 100 times. I went bankrupt building it. All kind of stuff, friend. I'm building this tower again, but it just is what it is. But now I know there's a price to building the tower, and I'm willing to pay the price, and that is to give up the world so that I can know this love of Christ, because that's what's important to me in my life. All right, friend. Well, I love you because my Father loves you, and God bless you and yours.